we're going to pretend that by me wearing these earrings, it is somehow making this outfit less casual. Does anyone else fight with their tripod as much as I do? Welcome back, future OTs. I'm Talia and welcome to my channel, Endless Education. So I'm in my final year of occupational therapy, if you didn't know. So today's video is going to be another reflection on what I've been learning the past few weeks. So sorry I haven't been able to make a video the past 3 weeks. First week was, I think I was busy because I usually have to film these on the weekend. The next 2 weeks I've been sick for the past few weeks. So when I tried to sit down last weekend to film this video, it was just a lot of coughing and no one wants that, and I didn't want to have to try and edit that video, so I thought I'd just put it off for another week. And so I just finished my 7th week. So at the moment I am experiencing and learning more about the OT role within the mental health field. So I had my halfway SPEFA last week, so I'm week 6, and yeah, so I guess we could start with that. So my SPEFA went well, passed everything. I think my overall feedback really was just to keep doing what I'm doing, so that's always nice to hear. I put a lot of effort and work as hard as I can, so it was good to kind of get that feedback. So now I just finished week 7 and I have 3 more weeks to go, and I think in my last week, week 10, it's actually more of a handover week with the next students who'll be taking our places. So actually really looking forward to that. I'm actually really looking forward to that, not in the sense that I'm leaving and it's ending and everything, but more so kind of handing everything over to another student and giving them advice, giving them tips, all that stuff. So I enjoy that. So what's been happening the past few weeks, we filmed more activity videos. So the activity videos are where we record a video explaining an activity that we might use in our group sessions. So we run group sessions like sensory group. We're asked to do 7 activity videos, so pick 7 activities to record, to script, record, edit and put together, where it explains what the aims of the activity are, materials, instructions, what it looks like. So we always have a bit of fun filming those and I enjoy editing those, so I'll show you a little bit of them.
I'm trying.
Yeah, good. Not bad.
I don't need a commentary.
This is more of a reaction game for me because yeah, your left hand's better at this than your right hand is.
It's so weird.
I actually try not to wear my glasses in videos because I know there's that glare, but sometimes it's just too difficult. I can't see clearly enough, so please bear with. So we also did an educational video this week. So we have to do 3 educational videos, and the topic we did this week was explaining self-regulation. So OTs and a lot of other professions, I think also like psychologists, use the term self-regulation a lot, and it appears throughout literature and in our interventions in lots of different fields, from children, traumatic brain injury, older adults, as well as when working with people with mental health conditions. So we thought that would be a good video to have, and it was harder than you'd think, explaining and researching and kind of coming to our own decision on how we define self-regulation. And then came the actual task of filming the video. I'll show you a few outtakes from that one.
No, you gotta be there.
I can't read it.
Why are we sitting like this?
But I see it, man.
Yeah, but I'm looking at this. That's better. Hey Talia, nice work today in group. No. Zip. Zoop. Hey, stop.
Can't even say my name now.
Okay, I'm just gonna be silly. I'll just do it silly, okay? Ready?
Hey Talia.
How's it going? It's not good.
So yes, we got sick, all of us actually, so we had to take a day off the other week. That was okay. It was nice to actually have, you know, a day off to recuperate, and I was almost losing my voice at one point, but luckily it came back and I was still actually able to sing and perform in a concert. So, you know, we powered through it, and, you know, I'm on the other side of it now and feeling a lot better. But something I started talking about, I think in my last reflection video, was that I was starting to learn more about narrative therapy and those techniques, as well as the use of therapeutic documents. So the past few weeks I have had like a really great experience incorporating those techniques, some of those techniques, into my work with different consumers, and I've really enjoyed it. So just to give you like a little description, I want to highlight that I'm a student. I've really just been learning about this, but to me, with narrative therapy, I wasn't doing like full narrative therapy. It was more utilizing some techniques and some of the theory behind it. For me, it was exploring someone's story and experience of illness, and, you know, supporting them to see alternative storylines, because the way we experience and perceive and retell stories, we can do it from multiple different perspectives. The same experience can be told from multiple different perspectives and viewpoints. So if people are kind of really in this sick role, patient role, and really internalizing the problem as themselves, we can support them to externalize the problem, take the problem out from themselves. Say it's, I don't know, like anxiety or this kind of pressure, externalizing it, being like, well, when did this anxiety start, or what does it look like? Can you draw it for me? So externalizing the problem can be a technique. So it's understanding, for me it was understanding their experience of their illness from their perspective, and in comparison to how the treating team might be viewing or focusing on their illness more from a medical model. I actually ended up working a lot with the recovery framework and really developed a deeper understanding of those first few stages of recovery and how this can present in behavior, how the stages can be reflected in someone's behavior within and on the ward. Just a quick overview of what the stages of recovery are, and I'm referring to the book. Well, the book I was using and referring to was Psychological Recovery Beyond Mental Illness by, I will put their names on the screen because I'm sure I just butchered their lovely names. So the 5 stages are moratorium, awareness, preparation, rebuilding, and growth. In particular, I was delving into understanding the moratorium stage and the awareness stage. So the moratorium stage, this stage is characterized by withdrawal and a sense of hopelessness and powerlessness. And then the second stage is awareness. This stage is characterized by aspiration without clear direction and is a time when alternatives start being considered. I really used this framework and this theory to guide my understanding and assessment of people the past few weeks. So I really enjoyed utilizing this framework and this theory when understanding and reporting and assessing, you know, people on the wards. It just gave me a different way to view their behaviors and a different perspective to put forward to the treating team, a different way of viewing the behaviors and actions of someone and relating it to their stage of recovery, rather than these behaviors just being seen as symptoms or you know, behavioral. So I've definitely learnt the use I've definitely learnt that there are some words that get used a lot. I think they get referred to as sandbag terms. I can't think of who coined that, but there is someone who did. And we were talking about how the word behavioral, someone gets described as behavioral. What does that mean? That could look so different for each person, for different people, and then the people labeling someone as behavioral, each of them could be referring to different things. So really breaking down, what behaviors are you talking about, what in particular are you labeling as behavioral, and then by bringing in these stages of recovery and using narrative therapy, actually understanding what these behaviors to that person who's doing them, for them, why, what's their reasoning? Is it for them, it's a sense of hopelessness, they think if they do something or don't do something it's going to lead to failure, whilst people on the ward might just be saying, oh well, they're not getting out of bed, so that's not, they shouldn't be doing, that's behavioral, whilst that person's experience and their reasoning and what's going on for them could be like an alternative storyline. Exactly, a different storyline. We could be just seeing this behavior and just labeling it as behavioral, we don't want it, and that's it. But this person might be having this whole completely different experience at the same time. So that was a really jumbled way of saying all that, but I hope that made some sense. So then I really enjoyed bringing my, my findings, my experiences, my, new knowledge of consumers to the treating team, and I had a chance to, speak to someone in the treating team this past week and explain what I've found and how I've been working with someone in particular, and having them go, oh yeah, I didn't consider that, oh that's, that's kind of like new information, the perspective OT brought, and this recovery framework, and these narrative techniques, that approach that we took, that's really different. And yeah, it felt really good to be useful, and making that our perspective was really, we were really contributing with our perspective. So yeah, so it's been 7 weeks down, really felt like I've kind of getting into the groove. I've completed multiple assessment reports, worked with a few different people, and I think we've run probably around 20-ish sensory groups. And I know in comparison to people working in different fields, like more rehab based, their groups might be running like 8 or 10 groups a week, and for us it's about 3. And the preparation for our groups is a lot different to a rehab group. I guess I could talk about how we pick the activities we pick. I mean, this is probably similar to a rehab group and the things you have to consider. So we have to consider the number of people who may come to the group. We consider the age of the people in the group, gender, literacy and education. I think that's a big thing that sometimes you might slip your mind when you're thinking of activities, is you don't know who's going to be in the room and what their education level is and their literacy level at all. So you have to keep that in mind when selecting tasks as well as people's movement abilities as well, so their physical capabilities. And then we also have a discussion section in our group, and so we have to find a video and then develop a discussion theme, like approach and a plan for our discussion. And so it's a lot of work doing that, and it just might seem quite simple from the outside. Oh, we pick a video and then we talk about it. It's not as simple as that. We really have to have these OT models in theory guiding our questioning and where we want to go, what information we want to stay on, move on from, draw more out from. So we usually use the MOHO model, and I think that's pretty common in the mental health field. And getting good at running and being a part of these discussions, or leading and facilitating these discussions, you can't just like read in a textbook and memorize a few things and go in and nail it. I'd love, that would be so great if that was possible. Yes, reading and knowing your theories is, like, we get told a lot, like knowing your theories, having your theories and models guiding everything you do, everything you say, is having it be second nature. Yes, you need that, and having techniques to communicate and draw information out, blah blah blah. Yes, you could maybe get some of that from reading, but honestly it's the experience, and each group is a different lot of people, so it's different each time. So it's really, we're learning and improving through doing. It's not something you can just read about. So actually, I remember in my last video I briefly mentioned what video I was picking for my Monday group session, and I think when watching it back I said something, oh, so we find a video that's occupation based or tell someone's story or something like that, and I realized people watching might not necessarily know when I say occupation based what I mean, because the video I gave as an example was a day in the life of an author. So the word occupation, well, this could be just a video in itself, but quickly, occupations are everyday activities that we do that are meaningful and purposeful to us. So it can be anything from self-care, so like showering, getting dressed, to singing, dancing. Those are just the usual ones I say. For anything, it's everyday activities that you do that bring meaning and purpose to your lives, things you need to do and want to do. So when I say occupation based, I don't just mean like career based, is really what I'm trying to get across. So it just happened that that video I was showing was a day in the life of an author, but it showed the occupations she did throughout the day. So another video we might have shown might be like about skateboarding, so that's occupation based. Maybe like cooking, art. So that's what I mean when I said occupation based. So we find a video, we usually use occupation based videos and things that are creative. We've shown some, you know, really interesting music videos before as well. It's just considering what do we want to get out of this. We want it to be enjoyable for people to watch, you know, get people thinking, as well as be useful and rich in discussion potential, if that makes sense. So thought-provoking, what can we draw from this video that we can talk about, to talk about the influences of other people in our lives, to talk about our sensory preferences, talk about the strategies we have. We really want to draw it back to as well the aim of the whole group, and it's a sensory group, and it's helping us to, you know, explore and understand our sensory preferences, you know, what helps us to calm down when we're upset, or what helps us to feel more alert when we're having trouble like focusing. So it's like doing a mini essay, each group you're thinking, responding to the video. So yes, I hope that made some sense. So what's going on for you guys this week? What are you guys learning about in your OT courses? Or what are you most excited about when you start learning OT? Let me know down below. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.